Hi, I'm Liz, and today we're going to be cooking the easiest curry cauliflower rice. This is going to be great for a beginning cook, for somebody who's just starting to get familiar with cooking healthy in the kitchen, or for experienced cooks who just really want the fastest, easiest way to cook something close to curry cauliflower rice that's not perfect, but that's going to be delicious. Let's get started. I've got my cauliflower here from the store. As you can see, I've unwrapped it. And it's okay looking. It's not the super pretty Instagram worthy cauliflower, but it's all right. It's got some flat parts from where the store or the farm has already chopped off some dark spots. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this up, remove any additional little spots of mold or dark spots that we see, take off all the leaves, and then take the core out. Begin by washing the cauliflower, give it a little rinse under there. A nice sharp knife, and just slice right through the bottom near where the stem is. So you might end up with something along the lines of this, where it comes out. There might be a bit of cauliflower pieces in there, which I will get out. So I'm taking out the little cauliflower pieces in here. I'm gonna set this aside. And what I'm gonna do is grab my pot. There's nothing in it, just an empty, this is about a 3 or 4 quart pot. Good for one cauliflower. And I'm just gonna start putting pieces of cauliflower into here as they come off. But let's get back to prepping the cauliflower here. So I'm gonna cut it in half and then take this core out here. So this part of the cauliflower is really tough and really woody, and it's nice to chop that out. All right, so I'm gonna take the core, just put it aside. And now I've got all these little florets here. And I'm gonna chop up any of the big ones. Okay, so I'm just chopping kind of along the lines of the natural stems of the cauliflower here. Let's get them all chopped up. Lovely. Get up all those little pieces. They're all gonna be delicious and part of our cauliflower rice. So here's what I've got. See in here, just little pieces of cauliflower, an inch or two, and we are going to add some water. Maybe 1/2 inch of water at the bottom of the pot, maybe a little bit less, somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2, and get this starting to cook on the stove. All right, so turn the fan on. It's gonna be really loud. There we go. And turn the fire on. So just put the fire on, medium to high heat, medium-high. Put a lid on. Set yourself a 10-minute timer, and we're gonna come back and check on it then. Now it may be done, or depending on the cauliflower and how fast your stove heats up the water, it may be longer. So we'll check on it and I'll be back. So it's been 10 minutes and I'm gonna give these guys a check. They're not quite ready yet. You want the fork to go into them almost really easily, just like a little bit of resistance. These have a little too much resistance. I'm having to really press my fork in, so I'm gonna give it 2 more minutes and then I'll come back. We're back after a couple more minutes. And let's check on the cauliflower. These look perfect. So let's take the lid off, heat off, and we're gonna drain this cauliflower. We're gonna drain the water over the sink. This is the easy method, so making the fewest dishes is one of my goals while I cook. So we're gonna use the lid as the strainer and just be real careful as we pour everything over. Join me at the sink. So I've got my cauliflower here, and I'm just gonna offset the lid a little bit, and then being real careful and pour that water out. Lid's gonna hold all the cauliflower in. Just let it all drain out. All right, we're gonna go back to the stove for part 2. So here we are for part 2 of this curry cauliflower rice. And this is what I love about this dish. It's a 1-pot dish, so very few dishes. All right, so we've got our drained cauliflower still in the pot here. We've taken the water out, and we're gonna start the heat up again, maybe medium-high heat. And I've got a bigger implement, bigger spoon, and I'm gonna pull all the cauliflower over to one side now. Take some olive oil and pour it into the side without the cauliflower. We're pouring the olive oil in, and be generous with it, 2 tablespoons. Let that heat up. Now we're gonna use 2 spices here. We're gonna do curry and cumin. Now you can use just curry, it comes out just fine. I like it with a little extra cumin just to kind of set the balance off on the curry. And again, this isn't measured, so I'm just gonna pour it in here. Teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, however much you like. Get the cumin in. All right, so there's about this much in here. And you can hear it all starting to sizzle already. So I'm gonna take my big spoon now that the spices are starting to warm up with the olive oil, and just stir around the spices. Here we go. Just stir them around, really let them bloom. And once that's all mixed in, then we're gonna start tossing cauliflower. Just mix it all up together. I think I need to turn down the heat a little bit. There we go. The cauliflower is pretty much cooked, but we want to give these spices a minute or 2 or even 3 to really bloom and begin to develop their full flavor, which they will in the hot oil there. I'm going to put the lid on for a couple minutes, maybe a minute or 2. We're going to let this sit. You might want to stay close to your pot. You don't want it to burn off. Most of the water in there is gone, but what's lovely about this extra step here is that it takes out some of the extra moisture, so your cauliflower won't come out like wet or soggy at all. It really dries it up and comes out real nice. One little tip for those of you who may be familiar with cooking cauliflower on the stovetop like this, you want to cook it a little bit past done, like where you would normally take it out and it would be kind of like toothsome and delicious and have just like a little bit of give. You want to take it maybe a minute past that point, and that's going to help us turn this into a really easy curry cauliflower rice dish rather than big cauliflower florets. So we're going to check it again, and this looks done. My cauliflower looks like it's dried out. Well, not dried, it still has some moisture to it, but it's no longer that kind of wet look. And as I'm stirring it here with this giant metal spoon, the cauliflower big florets are starting to break up, which is what I want. Now you have a decision here you can make just for your own preference, whether you want to make it really small like a cauliflower rice proper, or whether you want to keep some of these larger cauliflower chunks in. It's totally up to you. I'm on the lazier side on this, and I like to keep a little variety in the size of the florets. So I have some bigger pieces and some smaller pieces, but it's really up to you. And I'm going to turn this off because it looks done. But the more I stir it, you can see the more it's breaking up. These are medium-sized cauliflower rice pieces. All right, so I've got my bowl ready to serve. It's been 15-20 minutes tops since I started cooking this. And let's serve up. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. I love to have this just with some roasted chicken or roast turkey. It goes great with so many different dishes, with fish, with meats, with you name it, it goes great. It's just super versatile. And the curry gives it a really, really nice flavor, but it's not like overpoweringly curry where like you're like, oh, I'm gonna douse this with yogurt, etc., although you certainly could. What I like to do when I serve it up, if it's just gonna be plain like this, is just take more olive oil and give it a good drizzle here. This jar is almost empty. Ooh, is there any left? Oh my gosh, the very, very end. All right, so it needs a little more olive oil than that, I'll be honest. And then some salt. Sprinkle on some salt. And the salt and the olive oil make this absolutely delicious. I want to show you how good this looks. Take a look at this. This looks great. It smells so good. Oh my gosh, I wish you guys were here. All right, I'm gonna let this cool for a minute, and then I'm gonna sit down and have some lunch. Don't forget to put the leftovers away into a Tupperware. This will make delicious leftovers. They reheat great in the microwave or in the toaster oven. So put it aside and you'll have extras for tomorrow. Okay, I gotta get more olive oil out. It just makes such a difference. You gotta add the extra olive oil, guys. I'm telling you. Don't be worried about the fat. This stuff is good for you. This is so good, you guys. Make it. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm curious if it works out for you. Subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. And I hope you get to try some delicious curry cauliflower rice too.